review here today, Gumchung review of The Last of Us Part 2 for the PS4. I actually just beat this earlier. I ended up putting like a minute or two under 28 hours into it. I thought I would play it longer. I was looking over my final stats, like what I missed in terms of like journal entries and trading cards and the coins. I missed a decent amount, but I probably could have padded maybe 3 or 4 if I really went nuts, but I'll get into all that in this review. There's going to be a lot of spoilers in here. I'm not going to spoil everything, but so if you haven't played this and you're not into hearing the spoilers, even though this game, like, the full cutscenes of this game leaked, so I already had known some of what was going to happen to begin with. But anyway, I really enjoyed this game quite a bit, so I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you some of the things I didn't like, and all that stuff. But this takes place a little bit after the first one. They recap that in the beginning. Joel's talking to Tommy. And he's telling him what he did at the end of the first game. You know, saving Ellie, but Ellie was going to be the cure. But she had to die in the process, and Joel wasn't having it. So, that happens, then you go back to the place in Wyoming, and you're doing some stuff, you know. You barely use Joel in this game. I'll say that right out of the front. You use him like for 5 minutes in the beginning. You're on a horse. When you go back to their settlement, I forget what it's called. I don't know why I keep forgetting what it's called. It's in Jackson, Wyoming. But anyway, so you're there, and then I forget if you're using. No, wait, you're not using Ellie first. Then you jump right into. I don't know if you jump right in, like I said, 12, 13 days ago, so I'm already forgetting things. You start playing as Abby, briefly, here, at this point. She's a new playable character in the game, right? Technically, Ellie is. I mean, he plays Ellie in the first one a little bit, but Abby's hanging out with her group. They're in this abandoned, like, mansion near their settlement. And, here Joel and Tommy and everybody's settlement, Ellie's settlement. And then one guy, Owen's like, oh, I found it. Like, they see it down there. And then Abby and Owen go searching, because she's with, like, other of her friends and people from her group. I've talked about this in the impressions video. They find it. Abby goes on her own. Abby runs into Tommy and Joel, because they do patrols. You know, the people from the settlement do patrols. And they help her. So you're playing as Abby while Tommy and Joel are helping you. Then you get back to, she brings you back to where she's hanging out with her group. They immediately hear Joel's name, because she's looking for Joel. Abby's looking for Joel. Because spoilers here. The surgeon, you find this out in the game. But the surgeon, who's performing the surgery on Ellie, in the first game that Joel kills, is Abby's father. You obviously don't know that in the first one. But anyway, they get back, and she's like, oh, he's like, I'm Tommy, I'm Joel. And then Abby immediately shoots Joel in the knee. She kills him. Then you cut back to playing as Ellie. And you're on patrol with her friend, Dina. Dina's her name, right? That's her love interest. So the two of you go out, you have a little snowball fight in the settlement. Blah, blah, blah. And you got on patrol, so you're doing stuff, getting back into the groove of the game. And shit, you're on horseback, you're exploring some things. You come across a weed, one of the old guys who had died, who was part of your group, had a weed, was growing a ton of weed. They find out about. There's another guy, Jesse, as well, who was with Dina before, but now Dina's like with Ellie, but not, kind of thing. But and Ellie's also kind of pissed at Joel. Not overly, but at first. I'm gonna get into more of that. Keep going. Anyway, you just some with Ellie, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh shit, Joel and Tommy didn't come back from their patrol. And I'm like, that's fucked up. We gotta find him. she comes in as Joel's being kind of finished off. She's flipping out. Tommy's flipping out. They knock them both out, kill Joel. Obviously, Joel's dead. Abby kills Joel, and they leave. So they don't kill him because they weren't part of who they were looking for. Now, all of Abby's group, because they were part of the Fireflies. Now, after all this stuff happened at the end of the first game, because the Fireflies kind of splintered off and went different ways and joined new groups or whatever. And so these other people were also wanting to kind of get revenge on Joel too, because because Ellie was the cure, and Joel killed the only person who could perform who knows the cure. Abby's father, I forget his name. So that starts like the first part of like this revenge mission. Ellie's like, we gotta go get him. Tommy's like, I gotta talk to Mira. She's like the leader of the settlement or something. And he's like, I'll talk to her in the morning. But then Tommy goes out on his own. So Ellie's like, fuck this. I'm gonna follow him. Because they see a patch that says WLF on one of the people's shirts. Or maybe it was Abby's jacket or something. It's the Washington Liberation Front, so they gotta head towards Seattle. And so you go that way. Dina goes with you. You know, you visit Joel's house. He's been buried now. You visit Joel's house in the settlement. You grab some shit, whatever. And now you're out on there. You head towards Seattle. The first, 5 hours of this game are great for me personally. I don't know how anybody else who's played it felt, because when you get to Seattle, you gotta open some gates. And then you're in downtown Seattle, and you get a map, and you can now explore stuff the way you want to kind of explore it in this area. So this was great. I went to a bank because I see a note on a dead body. I go into the bank. That's where I found Drake's ring from Uncharted. You pick up the shotgun there. There's some infected in there. You deal with them. Then you're trying to find gas to open up another gate because it's got key code. For the generator. The generator has no gas. You know, whenever you use a generator, you gotta hit triangle a few times in the right spot. This part in Seattle is so cool. You're going around. You're exploring buildings. Oh, I found a note that said, oh, there's still a weapons cache in so-and-so building. So you go over there and look. There are sporadic infected in the buildings you have to go to. Nothing crazy, right? Nice structure in this part. And obviously you have guns. You have your backpack so you can craft stuff. You can craft Molotov cocktails. You get supplies. You're trying to find supplies all over the place, right? Bullets, everything else. Weapons, whatever it is. You can craft a melee weapon to be stronger. There's a few you can't craft melee weapons. You enhance them, you make them better, right? Put like nails or scissors in them and shit. And so you can do that. You're finding the supplements, the pills, and places to upgrade. And then you find books that opens another upgrade tree. So you're upgrading how your vision can see. You know, you hit the R1 button and you can see the silhouettes, kind of little white blobs of the people or the infected. You can upgrade that. You can upgrade how quickly you can heal, or you upgrade how much more. You get a little more health with a few upgrades. You can upgrade like you can move quicker when healing. You can stealth kill someone faster. You can upgrade your, because you can craft a silencer for the pistol. You can upgrade it like that will last longer. You can, all types of upgrades for things, right? Each book has a little tree of things you can do. And you can upgrade, your med kits do better. They give you more health. It's funny in this game, every injury you come across can just be healed by wrapping an ace bandage around your arm. The only game that did that good was Far Cry 2, where you put your arm back into place, or you pull a bullet out of your arm, you cauterize a wound. By burning it, you snap your fingers back into place. Even though in that game, they had 5 or 6 animations where you were healing when your health got real low. Eventually got played out, but it was actually more well done than this, but that's the only game that really did the kind of cool things like that. And you can find workbenches so you can upgrade your weapons that you get. You find new weapons along the way. You can upgrade their capacity, their damage. You can add scopes to some. The stability you can change. Your fire rate, all that shit. So you can upgrade your weapons. You're upgrading your freaking other types of things you can do with the manuals and the supplements you get. Collectibles, or Abby has collectibles that are coins. Ellie has those trading card things, superhero type things. And you're finding a shit ton of artifacts and journal entries that add up as collectibles. But that part in Seattle was so cool, and then you get the gas. It was just cool exploring. There's safes you can find too. I ended up getting all the safes, opened them. And those have a bunch of supplies in them usually. Or some have one or two might add magazines in them that would help your upgrade tree. Or give you another upgrade tree. But that was cool. It was just fucking cool. Like, I would love to play a game where you get into not that many encounters and you're exploring everything, finding ways to get into rooms and shit. And the safe codes are either on a note, or you gotta look at a place on the wall to find it and shit like that. Like, oh, this one, it was the Wi-Fi password, and you have to find out where the Wi-Fi password is. Shit like that. So safes to find as well. I found all the workbenches also. And then you get to the next part, and then you start encountering the WLF. Because they were fighting against the fucking military. They took over. Then there's another group now called the Scars, or the Seraphites. But the WLF calls them Scars. They come along a little bit later, but the WLF is fighting them now. And then you find a few, and then you're kind of behind Tommy. Tommy tortured a few of these WLF members, blah, blah, blah. You're still following him. Not going to give you every story beat. It'll be a 300-minute video. All along the way, you're crafting shit. You're searching stuff. You're coming across encounters with either infected or WLF. Eventually, they have dogs that you have to deal with. They'll sniff you out, and you have to either keep moving so they lose your scent or throw something that distracts them, like a brick or a bottle, which you can throw at enemies to stun them and then stab them. You can stealth kill people in this game. I found no way to stealth and knock anybody out. And that plays into the story too, for me at least. You're doing all this shit. You're playing as Ellie. Graphically, it looks amazing, even on the PS4. You know, I know you're the 5 now, but it looks fantastic. All the environments look great. The character models all look great. The voice acting's all good. Everything looks really nice. You know, you fall into water or something, you stay wet for a bit and shit. Just a lot of cool stuff going on there. You do a couple of flashbacks as Ellie as well. You're playing where Joel appears again. You're playing as Ellie, but he like brings her to a zoo for a museum for her birthday. You do a few flashbacks there. Another one where you're sniping some people from long distance with Tommy, and then you meet Joel again. I forgot about the bloaters, and the bloater appears. There's one new one in this, the Shamblers in this one. That's a new one, I guess. They're kind of like mini bloaters, but they like burst into like acid type smoke when they die. There's the Stalkers who you can't see. When you hit that R1 button, you can't see them. When they hide and they jump you. There's the runners who will come at you. The clickers obviously will one hit you. You can craft shivs as well. So if a clicker grabs you, you can stab with a shiv. But you get shotgun. I ended up with a silenced machine gun at the end of the game. But a shotgun, a rifle, Ellie has, Molotov cocktails, trap, little kind of trap bombs where you set up a trap and enemies can run into them and blow up. And smoke bombs she has, which I only used once or twice. And you making your way through Seattle, killing whoever along the way you come across, or stealthing around them. You can avoid them, and I did. There's some sections where I did avoid enemies completely, but it's very hard, at least for me, because I'm not, like, I'll do it, but sometimes I'm like, I want this to be done faster, and I almost feel like killing them sometimes it does faster. There's a lot of points in this game where you got a whole triangle to push. A door's always got something in front of it, and usually there's enemies coming, so you either got to clear them out, or sneak around them, and hope they don't grab you while you're trying to open the door. Eventually you come across a boat, because parts of Seattle's really flooded out. There's like rivers going through the fucking place and shit. That comes into play for a little bit. And you've now dropped off Dina because, and you're playing with Jesse a little bit because, well, you drop off Dina at this movie theater and she's pregnant. That's another spoiler. She's pregnant. And it's with Jesse. The guy Jesse. And she hangs out in the theater now, and you're going out on your own for a bit. Jesse saves you at a point, a really cool part where you're like, oh, it was an annoying part because there was a lot of enemies here. And I thought I had, usually they'll say something when the enemies are all of a sudden a few more fucking appear. And I just want to search for supplies, The enemy's character models, there's not a lot of character models for each group. WLF, the Scars, even the Infected, whatever, but it's like you're strangling or stabbing like the same 4 character models over the course of the game for each group. But you're hunting down, as Ellie, you're hunting down, trying to get info where Abby is, so you're going after her other friends, most of which were with you, with Abby in the beginning when they killed Joel. The gameplay's really good in this game. It's well done. It's better than Uncharted. The enemies aren't bullet sponges, although I will say this later on. This fucking pissed me off. Some of the Scars are bigger and they have like a giant mallet. This one was running at me. I shot her in the face. A, she didn't die. B, she didn't even flinch and then killed me. I was so pissed. There are a couple parts in this game that aggravated me. Okay, whatever. Jesse helps you out. You go back to the movie there with Jesse. And then there's a scene. Oh no, as Ellie, you're essentially killing all Abby's friends. Now this is another thing. There's a cool part where you chase the one, I think her name's Nora. You're chasing it through the hospital in Seattle. And you're chasing her, and she goes into a place where there's a bunch of spores. And this is going to be like a 30-minute review at least. And all of a sudden, Ellie walks in, no mask on, and she's like, "You're the one, holy shit." Because they knew that they had a person in the first game, but they didn't know who she was. And she's walking in the spores, and then this is where the story annoys me a little bit, because Ellie beats her to death and gets the information. Even though she's going to die anyway, she's going to turn into something because she got the spores in her bloater or clicker or whatever the fuck it may be. And Ellie then goes back to the movie theater, and she's kind of like spacing out a bit. And then after you do parts, you get over through the boat, you all that stuff, and then you kill a couple more of Abby's friends. More spoilers, one of which is pregnant. You killed one of their dogs, too, that has a name. I've been killing like 8 dogs, and all of a sudden she's like, "Damn dog, why'd you do that?" You had no problem saying that with the other ones. And then she kills them, and then Tommy appears with Jesse again, because you split up again, because like, let's just leave. And Ellie's like, "I have to do this." And then they all leave and go back to the theater. Then Abby comes back and gets to the theater and has spoilers. I'm not gonna say it, but she has Tommy on the ground. I'm not gonna say a spoiler. There's just Tommy on the ground, and then it cuts. Ellie comes out. She's like, "I know why you killed Joel. The reason why there's no cure. Blah blah blah." Now you cut to playing as Abby after this. It's kind of like a mid-game thing. So it says Seattle day 1, day 2, day 3 when you're Ellie. Now you start off Seattle day 1, 2, and 3 as Abby. So this is after they've killed Joel, or she's killed Joel. And they all hang out in the Seahawks Stadium. That's where the WLF headquarters is. So you're hanging out in the stadium. I don't think they're called the Seahawks in the game, but so you're hanging out there doing stuff and then they try to make you feel bad for killing all these fucking dogs that are attacking you throughout the game, because they're like, the one was named Bear, and I killed the dog. I'm like, "Bear, no!" And I'm throwing the ball to the dog. I'm like, whatever. I'm not. It doesn't matter. Like, you're not gonna try to make me feel bad now after these dogs are attacking me. And Ellie's at this point killed so many people, but you then go on patrol with Manny and Mel. Mel is pregnant. There's also cutscenes, as a younger Abby. And leads up right into the game, the end of the first game. They're at a zoo. They help a zebra. Abby's hanging out with Dad, and her dad's like real important because he's a surgeon, right, who's going to figure out the cure. And then they're like, "Oh, we got the girl or the person." And he runs there, and then there's a cutscene where he's like, the one woman's like, I think she was in the first game, Marlene or something her name was. She's like, "Oh, we're going to die. The girl's going to die. What'd you do to her? It was Abby." And he's like, "I know." He's kind of conflicted. And then Abby overhears it, comes in. She's like, "Oh, you know what? I would be honored to die for the cure," or some shit she says. And then Abby, a couple of points throughout the game, because they show another scene where you're running into the hospital after Joel has already left and killed people, or he's in the process of leaving, but he's nowhere to be seen. Where she comes across her dad dead. Owen's in there with somebody else, and then this plays throughout a few times where she goes in. It's usually a different scenario every time she goes through. But now you're playing as Abby. Okay, now Abby's obviously stronger than Ellie. She'll take some more hits. She's like ripped. And her collectible is coins. So now you have pipe bombs as Abby. You don't have the trip mines, I don't think. I think you just have pipe bombs. You have a couple different guns as well. She gets a nice pistol. You put a scope on it and one-shot people, no matter where you hit them. She has a kind of a machine gun. You could also put a scope on. She ends up with a shotgun as well. But she takes a little bit more, and she strangles them when she stealth kills the people or the enemies that are infected. But now you're using Abby and seeing what she was doing through this. Oh yeah, sorry. Like I said, I'm all over the place here. Ellie comes across the scars as well. Of course, no group in this game is just like, oh shit, who are you? You can help us. No, they immediately want to kill you. And the scars don't like the old world, so they live on an island off Washington. Real close, I guess, off of Seattle. And they use crossbows. Oh, Abby gets a crossbow as well. Ellie also gets a bow and arrow. But they, they're doing their own thing, but they're at war. There was a truce at some point. Isaac is the leader of the WLF. Because you end up on patrol with Abby and you get jumped by a bunch of scars on horseback. Crash, you gotta make your way to the FOB. You get there, they're cleaning out the hospital. And all this other shit. No, wait, they're cleaning out the hospital later. You go to the place, you talk with Isaac. But Abby wants to go find Owen, because Owen's disappeared and one of the other guys is dead. There's a lot going on that I'm kind of forgetting. But Abby's gameplay is good too, and for me, I like Abby as a character, like Ellie's character. You see their motivations, why they're doing stuff, why they're conflicted. Abby does come across members of the Scars. They save her. I won't tell you about their story, but you have to help them out. You come back to help them again. Isaac, the leader of the WLF, wants to put a massive assault on the Scars Island. And now, Abby goes to help the one person you help, one of the Scars. She needs her arm amputated, so you gotta go to the hospital again. This is a fucking good part in this game where you're up high because the Scars, I guess, put like bridges way up high in the buildings, and Abby's terrified of heights, so there's parts where they make it really like, oh my god, you're going across these things too high up. And all that happens. The story's overall good. Like I said though, Ellie being conflicted after killing these people, certain people that are important to the story. All of a sudden she's like, oh my god, what did I do? You've already fucking killed multiple people. Well, why? Because they don't have a bunch of speaking lines. It doesn't matter. A lot of video games can't do this right. But you're still playing as Abby. You do that. Now you have to find supplies for Mel, because Mel and Owen hang out at the aquarium, and you do at a point. There's a few flashback scenes as Abby as well as ones you do as Ellie. And you gotta go back to the hospital to get the supplies to help with this woman who's hurt. Now, all of a sudden you get grabbed and handcuffed because they're like, Isaac didn't tell you to come here. And then your one friend Nora helps you out and lets you go. And now you have to go to the lower levels of the hospital that really no one's been in for, years. Since the beginning of the outbreak almost. Oh yeah, and they gotta wear masks. And Ellie's immune, but like there's a cutscene with Joel where you are level with you and Joel flashback. Which is like, why do I have to wear the mask? And he's like, just in case you come across anybody who sees you, they'll question it. So that they address that. Because when she's with Dina, she tells Dina that she's immune, and Dina's like, bullshit. And later on, she finds out she is. Because her mask breaks. She's like, your mask? And she's like, yeah, it's fine. But, where was I? Oh, yeah. So you use Abby now, and you have a mask on, and you're in the lower depths of the hospital. This was cool because you're finding notes with people writing notes, like, who were infected early on, and you're seeing what they went through and shit. She's like, oh my god, thank god I wasn't alive when the outbreak happened. And then, this part of the game is fucking annoying. Kind of cool, but annoying. All of a sudden, you hear something in a room, it sounds huge. I'm like, oh, it's gonna be a new variant or something you gotta find, right? Eventually, turn things on. The thing gets out. You find what you need, and the thing attacks you. It's like a Resident Evil-esque fucking boss. It's like, I think it's part bloater, part stalker. So it's like a huge bloater with body parts coming off and mouths, and eventually it rips apart. You have to fight this thing. The annoying part about this fight with this thing is that even with the light on, I was having trouble seeing. I had to turn the brightness up on the TV. So that was pissing me off a little bit. Eventually you beat it though, and she's like, no one's gonna believe this, but I was like, really? Here comes the Resident Evil boss. Not to the size of some of the Resident Evil bosses, but I think I looked at the extras and like the concept of the models, the figurine type things they give you, whatever the hell they are. It was like what they call like the rat bloater, or the rat king bloater, some shit, half bloater. Because the stalker part rips off, and then after you kill the bloater part, you have to go after the stalker part. The stalker part fucks with you, and you gotta take that out. But anyway, you have the other scar. There's two scars that you befriend, they save you, and the one that comes with you. They have their own story. I'm not gonna spoil that part of it. I don't want to spoil everything. I'm not even going to spoil some of the tension between Abby and some of her friends as well. You'll see that shit. And some relationships that were, in the game. There's another part where you meet Manny again. A lot of people die in this game too. You meet Manny again and you're getting attacked by a sniper, and that's Tommy. I'm like, oh, Tommy, because Tommy's doing his thing. So you see what's happening there. And Tommy tussles with, he kills Manny and tussles with Abby and falls into the water. And Abby's like, oh, fuck. That's when she realizes they're following her. But Abby then eventually makes her way back. She finds the stuff, and then she goes to the island because the Seraphites, that's what the cult is called, that's on the island. They call them, the WLF calls them scars. That's when you have to pull arrows out if you get shot. You gotta hold off and pull arrows out of you. But she goes and goes to the island with the one Seraphite. The other one's still back. No, wait. No, you go with the one Seraphite back to find the other one, because the other one wants to plead with her mother. Because they were running. I won't tell you why they ran from the scars, but the scars are after them. Because the scars are like almost a religious type cult, but they're a cult, and things have to be a certain way, right? And they broke, reasons happen why they broke it. And you go back, and now there's a fight on the island because all the WLF is fighting them, so you're going through that as well. This is kind of cool also. So you're going through the battle between them. There's a lot going on in the game. It's kind of nice. But eventually you make your way back as Abby to the marina, the aquarium, and you find your friend's dead because Ellie's killed him. Then it comes back to the beginning. It comes back to the cutscene in the middle of the game where Abby's now got Tommy on the ground, and Ellie's like, oh shit. Now you fight, here's spoilers, you fight Ellie as Abby. This also fucking pissed me off for a little bit. Because somehow Abby's like twice the size as Ellie. She kind of does dominate her in the fight. But after, you have to do all the bullshit. Because Ellie will just, if you don't get behind her or distract her, somehow she deflects your shot and kills you. Like all of a sudden I'm like, Ellie didn't have this kind of skills when I was using her. But eventually the fight happens. And then once you take her out kind of as Abby, you beat the shit out of her. And then Dina helps you out. And Abby's like, oh shit, Abby doesn't kill Dina. And she's like, I don't want to see you again. Okay, so you're like, this is another part. Now you cut, after that, you cut to Dina and Ellie on a farm together. Dina's had the kid, and you're just doing some random shit on the farm. And Ellie's having flashbacks of Joel and other shit. And Tommy appears again. And he's like, I gotta lead. I knew it too. He comes over to the farm, and he's like, I gotta lead. And Dina's like, don't do it. And Ellie's like, I gotta do it. This kind of annoyed me a little bit because they could have had that first fight end in where maybe Ellie gets the upper hand on Abby. Abby's on the, running, and then maybe you're chasing her for a few hours or some bullshit. But anyway, she's like, you do a few things on the farm, blah, blah, blah. They got the kid and everything. It's like 18 months later, or 15, I don't know. After the kind of confrontation. Where Abby's like, I don't want to see you again, blah, blah, blah. Shit happens to Tommy, so he's not capable now of hunting Abby anymore. So he pleads with Ellie. Ellie's like, I can't do it, but Ellie needs to do it because she keeps having these flashbacks. She's struggling with it. And she goes and fucking... Oh, and you play as Abby again and Lev. Lev's the one Scar member. Yara is the other one. Lev's still around and Abby's with him now. And they're in Santa Barbara because there was a lead with Owen that there were still fireflies in Santa Barbara, California. So she's trying to find them now. And so you do another cool part in California, which looked cool. It was a nice, different environment. That was cool. You get grabbed by another group. Abby and Lev get grabbed by another group called the Rattlers. And then she gets grabbed. They both get grabbed. And then it's like 4 months after that. And Ellie's now found her again. And now you do this like endgame scenario. You gotta fight through this new group. There's a cool part actually where Ellie gets grabbed by a tripwire and gets impaled kind of on the side on a piece of branch sticking out of a tree when she gets grabbed by this thing, by the tripwire or whatever. So she's fucked up. But then the two guys come and another clicker strung up. This is a cool part. Ellie grabs the one guy. No, the guy's like, "Oh, you think it's funny?" She's laughing at the guy because the guy got nervous by the clicker. And she's like, "Oh," he's like, "You think it's nervous?" And he picks her up and puts her near the clicker. And the clicker bites Ellie, but it doesn't matter for Ellie. And then she throws the guy into the clicker, and then she shoots the other guy, and the guy tells her where they are, and then she kills him anyway. So you make your way to this place, and this Rattler group is now kidnapping people and making them kind of fucking their own slaves to do shit around their compound. And that's where Abby is with Lev. Eventually you fight your way through there, blah, blah, blah. And endgame scenario now. Abby's on the beach with Lev. They're like tied up to these pillars at the beach. That's what they do to him because they tried to escape, so that's what they did to him. And here's the final fight, finally, right? They're both fucked up. Abby's been up on... Lev's fucked up too, but he gets put in a boat, but Abby's fucked up. Ellie cuts her down. They both go to boats. And Ellie's like, "I can't let you leave." But Ellie's like all fucked up from this stab wound. Abby's fucking been on this post for who knows how long. She's all weak. She's like, "I don't want to do this." This fight scene, spoilers here, obviously, is really fucking well done. Much better than the first fight. You're using Ellie now. It's mostly a fist fight. You're avoiding shit, punches, but they're both weak as fuck. You're in the water, too. The moon's behind you and shit. This is like the coolest one-on-one fight I've seen since Metal Gear Solid 4, when Liquid and fucking Solid Snake fought on that submarine. On the top of it, but they're fighting. And shit, Ellie loses 2 parts of her 2 fingers. And then she's drowning Abby, and she has a quick flashback to Joel and lets her live, and they leave. And now Ellie goes back home, and Tina's left, because Tina's like, "Don't leave," originally, to go hunt her down. Enough with this shit, and she leaves. And Tina leaves the house, and then she plays the guitar again, Ellie. Not as well now, because she's missing 2 parts of her fingers. And the game ends. Now, you can argue that Ellie's random act of mercy, because she had a quick flash of Joel on the porch playing the guitar. Now, you could say, well, mercy comes through now. She's killed countless human beings, dogs, Abby's friends, whoever fucking else she's killed. This is the thing. But you do see this cutscene at the end of the game. After Ellie's walking away from the farmhouse, you see a cutscene of her and Joel. And she's still pissed at Joel. She's like, "I don't know if I can forgive you for, my life would have mattered if they found the cure through me and shit." And they kind of patch it up. But she's like, "I'd like to try to forgive you." And he's like, "I'd like that." And he's like, "See you later." And she's like, "See you later." And he's like, "Yep." That was the last interaction they had. And then it ends. So the story for me is there's a lot of revenge going on. And in these worlds, everybody's fucked up. Because God forbid they just all band together. Guess the Fireflies are trying to do that. To make the world a better place. No. But it has that, and Ellie finally has, oh no, mercy. Because Abby kind of knew when she meets the 2 Seraphites, Lev and Yara, she's kind of like softens up a little bit. She's still killing a bunch of people. But, she's a good character. They make her seem sympathetic. You feel bad for her friends and shit. Ellie as well. You know, Ellie's just driven by this, and she's pissed. And, you know, Joel was like a father figure to her, obviously. And maybe she wanted to, you know, she lost that chance to forgive Joel because he died before she fully forgave him. And that might be fueling her as well. But again, eventually she's like, you know what? The cycle of violence ends here. Because that's all it is. It's just revenge. It's just going in a circle. You fucked me, I'm going to fuck you. You fucked me again, you know. That's how it does. Maybe she just wanted to end the cycle. You can argue that too. Right? Maybe that's what they meant. But it ends that way. There's a part where you let the prisoners out and the prisoners start fucking up the Rattlers. And they say she's like, where's Abby? And they're like, she's at the pillars. She's probably dead. And then he says, oh, she's bit. I was like, that's weird. If Abby's bit, she's going to be fucked anyway. But I think he was talking about Ellie was bit. She saw the bite mark on Ellie. That fight at the end was so well done. You're punching and shit. You're stabbing Abby a little too much, but it was really well done. That's how the first fight should have went too, but they were both fucked up. I think they both were like, Abby didn't even want to do it here, but she threatens Lev, and she's like, all right, fine, fuck it, I'll fight you. I think Abby came to grips with things a little before Ellie did, but I did like the story overall. There's some encounters that are annoying with the fighting, and sometimes having to fucking press down that button to fucking push a door open when you're about to get attacked is annoying, but I really fucking enjoyed it. I'd probably go about a 9.2. I was thinking 9.5 early on, but after the first fight with Abby and Ellie, I feel like it was almost a fluff, added on story. At the end, I was like, you know what, man? The game could have even ended here. Or you could have chased Abby and still had that confrontation. And then they both were like, fuck it, what are we doing, or whatever. So that was kind of, I didn't mind playing. The Santa Barbara stuff was cool. It was two different fucking environment. It was really cool, but it just was a little, I don't know. I think it dragged a little bit. Even though I felt like I wanted to play it longer, I think it dragged a little bit there. And like I said, Ellie's been killing people throughout the game. All of a sudden, here's the act of mercy. I'm stopping it now. And if they make a third game and you use her again, you could be doing the same fucking shit. You're gonna be killing people constantly anyway. Now, I guess you could stealth your way through this whole fucking game, but how many people do that? At the end of the day, you're gonna be killing some kind of fucking dog or some kind of human being. I want to see a game where it's the perspective of the infected. They're still alive in there, and it sucks. But yeah, like I said, graphically it's amazing. There's a lot of cool environments. Character models all look phenomenal. There's a lot of cool stuff to do. The gameplay is fun. Crafting stuff's fun. The combat is nice. There's a few parts where there's way too many enemies, but there's a few like action scene set pieces as well that are pretty fun and shit. But like I said, I go back like a 9.2. It knocked it a little bit down for me because I felt as I was having fun playing the end portion in California, but I was just like, really, she's gonna go after her again? I mean, they explain it kind of well, where she's like, she just can't get over it. She's having nightmares, so in her mind, killing Abby's gonna make that go away. And she comes to the realization that it probably won't, because then if she does kill Abby in that part, then Lev wakes up and then wants revenge on Ellie. Keeps going, right? I don't know if they're gonna make a third game. You might play as Lev, maybe play as Abby again, maybe there's more Ellie. I have no idea. Graphically, it was great. The gameplay is good. Some of the story beat, some of that's, I'm like, you're gonna feel bad now. That kind of just bothers me. That's a video game problem in general. Red Dead Redemption 2 did that pretty well, though. But I loved it, though. I mean, I loved exploring. That first part in Seattle was so cool. Opening safes, finding codes was fun. Just seeing the different areas and shit was cool. It was nicely structured, too. You could play for a little bit and stop. There were good checkpoints in the battle, so if it got frustrating, it was, you at least have good checkpoints. There was one part where Lev and Yara, Abby thinks they've abandoned her and you're trapped, and of course you gotta deal with like 6 infected and then they get the door open type thing. That was kind of annoying. Sometimes you have to figure out the patterns of the enemies, die a few times and figure it out. How to go about killing them. But overall, I really did like it. I gotta go back and play the first one now. I'm gonna play that one again, but I bought it, so this was a really good game. I go 9-2. Really, check it out if you want. I know a lot of people hated it, but I enjoyed the story. A lot of it's not what you seem either, so what it seems. So yeah. Anyway, my battery's about to die on this thing, but thanks for checking this out, and have a good day. 9-2.